Alright, welcome to Final Fantasy II Pixel Remaster. This entry is going to be the weakest of all the Final Fantasy games. The game itself isn't really that bad. I mean, I like the little story that they kind of tell here. It's, your classic giant empire is trying to take over the world, essentially, and, your young heroes are just trying to prevent this from happening because they were torturized, in the beginning. I think the GBA / iPhone versions, though, kind of give like a little bit more insight because they give like a little FMV on the characters' homes being attacked and stuff like that, so a little bit more character motivation. Because once we jump in, we're just going to jump in straight to a fight, and it's going to be all like, what the hell is this going on? There'll be a little bit of cutscenes and stuff like that, but just for you to understand like what your motivation is to kind of go through this. So this game has like a Skyrim level of scaling and leveling, so you'll have to be able to kind of coincide with that. The more you do certain actions, the better you'll become with them. The more you use a certain weapon type, the better you'll become, or you'll be able to use it. And that counts towards like how many hits you get off with the weapon, how accurate you are, a little bit to do with power damage and stuff like that. There's a variety of ways to play this game, but we'll just jump in and then I will cover some things that for this specific run that I'm going to do, because this game can get very grindy and it actually requires you to fight a lot of battles because the encounter rate in this game is like turned all the way up. And that's because in order to get better in this game, you have to be in constant battle, and just it's a thing. So, FF2, it's like I said, it's not too bad. It's just it doesn't have its fan base, that's for sure. Like if any game needed a remake from the ground up, I think this one needed the most, because it's just not you put it on anyone's tier list against all 16 number games, just no spin-offs, just all 16 number games, this one's probably ranking in the bottom on like 90% of everyone's bracket. So anyway, obviously beaten the game before, you can tell that it does take a little bit. This is like a 100% run though for 22 hours. So I'm sure that we are going to get through it in half the time. Or maybe not half the time, but we're going to get through it a lot more faster because I am going to use the boost again. And we are going to use the boost through all the Pixel remasters. And pretty much through everything from 1 through 9. Because the games are just so long that I don't have forever to do these. And I don't want to sit there and like sludge through all these games when we have a whole bunch of things coming out still this year. And I mean, I still haven't even finished a lot of the projects that I'm on right now, given the Soul series, the Ninja Gaiden stuff, and Assassin's Creed Shadows and everything like that. And then eventually Doom's DLC is coming, so there's a lot. But anyway, shifting focus back over to this series. So these characters are already named, and this game kind of is where the narrative-driven part of it all and named characters were kind of started. Let's just not get used to the fourth party member ever, because that one changes consistently in this game, and we'll detail what the highlights and the lowlights of this game are, but go ahead and rename them if you want. But Furion, Maria, and Guy are like your main trio, and then Leon, he's we'll just do this. A long-lived peace. It's at the end. The Emperor Palamecia has called forth monsters from the underworld and has begun his campaign for world conquest. Jeez, I can't read that fast, guys. Come on. A rebel army heroes towards the Emperor plans. Okay. What the fuck? Okay, I'm not gonna read this then, since it's gonna be like that. And here we go. So you won't be able to win this. Scripted loss. I will say though about 2, I think 2 has some of the best music, and it's like literally underrated for a majority of like playlists that people play for the second game. Okay, Final Fantasy II features this challenge and password type of gameplay. So anything that's ever highlighted red in this game, I think it's like highlighted different colors in other versions of this game, but anytime we see a new word, you always want to learn it, and then you're going to ask about it. So anytime these are present in options for NPC conversations, you kind of want to do this to see if you can get another response or like a secret reveal or whatever. It's really not that great of a feature, but you know, it's whatever. They tried something different, I guess. So pretty much if you suck, then you know, go to the Sanctuary. But anyway. Alright, this game does feature the back and the front formations. So inherently they put Furion and Guy in the front, and then they put Maria in the back. That's how that's going to look. So the closer you are to your name, the back row. The further you are from your name, you're in the front row. And then you just change this by doing this. Very easy, right? And then you can switch up formation like this or whatever. Oh, okay, never mind. I guess you can. I don't know. I was like, I don't know why you would want to do that anyway. It's kind of stupid. That's your key term list. All right, configurations. So default speed will always be run. Standard that arrangement boost. Okay. So now you see with the boost, we actually got different types of boost here. For this game specifically. Each game is going to have its own set of boost, which I think is a really nice touch for them to be giving us this quality of life type thing. Obviously, Gil's going to go up. Weapon skill level boost for weapons and shields. 4 times the experience. Magic. This one's probably the best of the entire boost because magic really, really sucks when you're trying to progress it. Attribute. Yep. Increase your max HP after a fixed number of battles. I don't even know what that means. Let me look that one up. I have no idea what that means. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Okay, so inherently, they because I didn't have the boost. I didn't play with the boost the first time around. But if you turn off the compensatory HP, then you're going to be playing the game to its closer original way to level and stuff like that. Which in this game, like, it has like a meme where you have to like hit your own characters and stuff like that in order for their HP to go up. But basically now it's set to a certain amount of battles, and then you're good to go, I guess. So they keep that on natively because they're like, yeah, that's kind of stupid that you have to hit each other to level up. But obviously I got all the enemies too. So there's, like I said, 1 through 5 are all platinumed. 6 I haven't played on the PlayStation yet because I think that's just kind of where I stopped. Because I knew I was going to end up doing these videos, so I was like, I might as well. And that's one of the more longer entries anyway, so I didn't want to like kill myself doing this shit. Yeah, you really don't start with a lot. So, I mean, you can kind of tell like what they're going for here. Firian's going to be like your knight type of character, you know. Maria with a bow, so you know you're thinking maybe magic, maybe far away distance bow shooter. Guy, the just powerhouse, just axe. But the cool thing about this game is that you can change any of that up and make them whatever you want. So, you know, you play with different build styles or whatever. Just find what works for you and never look back. You know. A lot of the time, people like to run double shields on each character because their evasion stats go way up, and then everything just misses you. It's hilarious. There's a lot of different ways you can play this game. Let's see. Okay, the old mage is telling us, why don't you go to this room? These guys are, again, here to teach you how to play. See about weapons, status menus, chest, monsters, commands, key terms, magic, skills, armor. All your basic stuff. Well, obviously, we know what we're doing here, right? So we're gonna move on. You can explore all this you want. You got one chest again. You know the quality of life is showing up. In this game, you don't have circle cancel or cancel and L2 to open up a map, so you won't be able to know anything. At least not at this rate. Yeah, once again, there won't be any like barrels or anything hiding items, so this game is pretty straightforward with, you know, you see a treasure chest like so, and then go for it. Potion. This game was very predicated on talking to the NPCs, more so than I think FF1 was. Like, the first 3 Final Fantasy games are very NPC heavy, and you need to like really talk to everybody. It's like a Dragon Quest type of thing. Like, you have to talk to everybody to kind of get an idea of the world and setting, what you're supposed to probably be doing or things to look out for in the open map. So there's a lot of connectivity in that regard. And then you got like special looking NPCs like this guy. Again, anytime you have a chance to do these, you want to ask this. There's nothing to learn because there's nothing in red. Okay, look around your map, and you can see that Altair has just 1. So you got your armor, weapon, magic, your item, and your inn shops over here. The item shop is completely different in this game. You get, like, the guy on the left sells, like, your basic stuff, while the guy on the middle sells your remedies, status remedies. And then the guy on the right sells really expensive shit. So, not understanding why they couldn't just do one merchant altogether, but it's probably just to break up the monotony of looking through a giant list. The way that inns work in this game, as you can tell, it takes 0 gil to rest up and heal. So the amount of HP and MP that have been reduced from your battles factor into how much gil it will take to pretty much replenish all of it. So if we just lost 1 MP each, it's going to be like 8 gold or 8 gil to stay at the inn, you know? But if, just say, like, you're way up there in levels, you've got like 500 HP across the board, and you're coming to an inn and you're at like 100 each, that number is going to climb by a lot. I don't know the exact percentages, but they take a value of your HP and MP pool, and then they divide it by whatever, and then that factors into how much gil you have to give up to rest. At some point in the game, it's better just to use cottages, because you'll just spend way more gil at an inn than you would on item to heal yourself. Here's another special NPC. Okay. Now what I like to do at the beginning of this game is to armor up first, because you do get slapped around pretty hard in the beginning, and it's hilarious. So you just, you know, basically want to start leather caps, leather gloves. Shielding is probably more important for Guy, I think. Actually, no. Yeah, so obviously the less clothing you put on, the higher your evasion stats and magic interference will go down. Normally, I let the mage run around pretty much unarmored as hell because it's, you know, going to be better for your magic interference stat or whatever. Like I said, there's a lot of like unexplained shit in this game that you're just kind of like figure out by trial, you know, trial by fire kind of crap. But since we got the boost, it's really going to pay dividends and not really be too much of a concern how we do things here. Now I'm actually going to take a javelin. So Furion being a swordsman is probably the most recommended thing I can do right now because it's going to pay off in the very end of the game. Maria, you can really do whatever you want with her. The bow is not a bad idea, but I do keep her as like a mage. You know, kind of, because that's just how they really just set up their stats. I mean, if you look at it, her intellect is already at 15. Whereas Furion's kind of more balanced across the board, and then Guy is like a strength, you know, character. So they kind of pre-selected for you what you should probably be thinking about when you come to these characters. And your intellect is going to be your, you know, your stat that affects your magic and stuff like that. So Maria as a mage is really nice to have. But eventually you want everybody to kind of know magic and learn magic. Because you can just hit a lot of, you know, weaknesses across the board. The Fire Tome, Thunder, Blizzard, Cure. These are all things that we want to learn before we head out to the first place. So the first thing to do in these games is to grind. Yes, everybody's favorite word, right? And just to showcase, this game specifically is really good at letting you know when you're not supposed to be somewhere, because you will get slapped really hard. And yeah, it's terrible. So you can walk your way around here. You know, mini goblins to start out with. Pretty good start right there. There. So we'll do an axe and a spear this time around. I've never done this combination before. They'll tell you their favorite hand. So you want your best, highest damaging weapon, or whatever weapon you want to learn the best with, in your favorite hand, because it'll just be better. Bow is obviously a two-handed weapon, so we won't be able to put anything here. But Guy without a shield is fine, because he's going to be your damager, and Furion with a shield and a sword is pretty, you know, prototypical knight standards there. Just come out to the marsh a little bit. That's it. Stab poke. Now, the way that it works, and okay, let me explain this one as best I can. So if you go into the bestiary, and just say we are looking for... What are they putting at? You would think the goblin would be like the very #1 enemy. There you go. Okay, so you see how in the stats menu here you have monster rank. So the higher a monster's rank, the more the battle will mean in terms of like upgrading your weapon skills and your magic skills. Some magic skills require higher enemy ranks in order to level quicker, whereas like other spells like Cure are just literally you using it constantly and getting it all the way level to 16. It'll be the easiest one to kind of get to 16, but it takes a minute. And I mean, if you were going to go platinum in this game, it's going to take a while. So they give different variations of items as well. So there are goblins that are worth 9, 18, 37, or 75 gil. So obviously we want the ones that hit 75 each time, so then we can get that times 4 from that. But every single one of those numbers will be times 4. So, you know. Obviously we met them all. There's not an enemy I haven't missed in this game, so we're good to go. And if we keep looking, the Goblin Guard is just a different variant with a little bit more HP and a little bit different stats, but it's still only monster rank 1. As we can see, the grenade is a monster rank 2, 3, 5. These guys are probably the best. Generals are 7. So, you know, you're going to be having to fight these really late game higher enemies to get those stats really pumping. So just keep all that in mind as you're playing through this game. If you're not seeing any of the increases anymore, that means that you're at the best level you can be for that zone. So you're not going to get any better after that. So we'll just continue. I'm just going to keep pushing. Hornets are pretty bad because they can poison you, but they just got poisoned. Poison will not last out in the field though, and there's two types of like status effects in this game. There's the ones that are in battle, and then there's the ones that last outside of battle. So poison in this game won't last like it did in the last one, but venom will, and you'll be able to tell the difference between the two because I think one's like a darker purple, and that means that you've been venomed, while the other is green, just like we saw there. And you'll know when the status effects last through after the battle because it'll be like in the menu and it'll have like a little icon of like, here you go, this is what happened to you. So you just have to figure out how to get rid of it, which, you know, just same old stuff. So we're going to venture a little bit further than we need to. Marian's bow leveled up. Eventually you're going to hit like a brick wall. You'll be like, okay, I can explore anywhere I want. Go for you. So these battles should be really tough, yeah. As you can see. That's amazing. There you go. So obviously we're not going to keep that one because that was just to showcase, like, eventually you're going to hit a brick wall. Were-rats, these things are dangerous as shit, too. Let's see if we can make it. They're just very poison heavy, yeah. Venom. We indeed did not make it. But you see how much gil that we got from that. So if you can survive those fights early, you'll be able to rack up some nice things. I would just flee from this, because there's no way to handle that. There you go. So again, it will be a little bit of an uphill battle, trying to figure out where you need to get going. Right now we can already see the weapon leveling is starting to take its effect. So we're starting to hit 2 hits, 3 hits, starting to hit really hard. Then that's generally exactly where you want to be at with this. Now in other versions of this game, if you dual wield a weapon, you would be able to, like, from what they were supposed to intend was you hit an enemy, if you killed it, then it would switch over to the next enemy and hit another one. But you're just going to waste your turn and slap one for max damage. So, unfortunately, Pixel Remaster did not carry on with that. And this is the most frustrating thing about Final Fantasy II, is that you'll see a lot of missing. Even though you're, like, very qualified with the weapon, it gets way too out of hand with the evasion stat. But in the same light, you will also see a lot of missing from the enemies on you. It's just going to take a while for it all to kind of come together. Okay, what I would suggest doing is buying things like Antidote. Cures venom and poison, see? And just get started with those. Potions aren't really going to be a thing for you, believe me. Just don't waste your time on potions. I'm going to buy one of each of these, and I would suggest buying 3 of these. Then how you do this is that you actually have to go to your menu and use the tomes on your characters if you wish to learn the spell. So, fire. What is it? Thunder. The Cure Tome. Porphyrion. Oreo. And Guy. Now, some people would suggest against that because late game, you'll understand that there are 2, like, little bit of a spoiler, there are 2 strongest magic black and white spells, and depending on the level of all your magics, like, if you're a pure black caster, then depending on the level of every black magic you have in your list will determine how much the ultimate black magic will do in damage-wise, and the same can be said for the white magic version too. So you have to be very specific with what you want to do. You can also forget these, so like if you didn't want them and you want something different, because you can only put so many spells into your list. I think you get up to 16, but there's a lot of spells, so you have to really kind of diversify what you're doing here. Eventually, like I said, you just want to put, you know, mix and match different spells on each character. Furion, I usually put like the enhancement spells, like the buffing spells on him, because I don't want to overload one character with all these different types of things. Maria usually has all the damaging spells, maybe a little bit of buff depending on what it is, and then Guy has like the same setup, buffing, status protection, status curing, all that kind of stuff. Shielding. So every one of these guys has a certain job. Alright. Then we just move on. And we can just see that they're just fending themselves off pretty well right there. Now, this is probably going to be the worst part to watch. I do never enjoy this at all. So in order to get better with the spells, you will have to use them. You can multicast in this game as well. Should have mentioned that. But you want to use a certain percentage of your MP pool so you can get the upgrade, and sometimes it doesn't always happen, which really sucks. I would keep 2 enemies alive each time, because they start to flee after a while. So right now we're just trying to drain our MP so that we can get a higher MP pool. And you don't have to take it down to 0, you just need to get a certain percentage of your current HP and MP levels to lower at a certain distance in order to get the upgrades triggered. Because even me doing this, there's going to be at some point they're not going to really give a shit. And I always stop it a little bit earlier than I need to before I actually get those upgrades. But this right here is exactly why people don't like this game as much. And I mean, you can kind of understand, we're just sitting here watching them do this, all for the sake of wasting all this MP so that they can get upgrades. So then Furion will switch over to an attack, and then hopefully we can get that last bit of MP out. So Cure leveled up for everybody. So there you go. Furion went up to 30, 30, and 30. That's exactly how you want to do it. And a 30 MP pool is not bad right now with the magic. So every time you level up your magic, it's going to go up by a point. Meaning that our Cure will no longer cost 1 MP, it's going to cost 2 MP now. So imagine when you get all the way up to 16, which is the final cap, that's going to cost you 16 MP each time you use a Cure, but it will be very leveled. So they didn't do Curaga, they didn't do Cure 1, Cure 2, Cure 3, they did this piece of shit type of thing. And sometimes sitting in those battles and doing this isn't too bad of an idea. It's just annoying. Again, I don't know how they pull their numbers. They just They say, yeah, this is how much guilt it takes to fix it all. As we can see, there's nothing new upgrading wise. It's just a town in between that you can use to heal and rest yourself. No chest as well. And I mean, at this point, you're kind of like, okay, so what do I do, right? And I mean, there's like plenty of ways to look around and kind of try to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. So like, just visit everywhere. You will see a lot of this type of crap. The ×4 boost is so nice. And I'll just tell you right now that there's a way simpler way to upgrade your MP pool and everything at like pretty much sort of at the end of the game. Not really, I wouldn't say at the end of the game. It's like mid-game. Mid-game, there's an easier way, but we just have to get a certain tome in order to do it. But for now, I would just spam cast, get at least some levels working in. Especially with ×4 on, I mean, you can see that it's already boosting pretty nicely. This would take forever in the other versions. I'm actually surprised they did not upgrade. It was like on the cusp. Okay, you talk to the knights here, they will destroy you, so just leave them alone. Yep, even they're making mention. You can walk into them, but the moment you talk to them, you will engage in battle, and they will wreck your face. So just stay away. There are random encounters in here. Just for now. Okay, and then you kind of want to like search around the entire area. Most of the doors are going to be blocked by these soldiers. And just as we saw there are different animations each time that these magics level up all the way. So by the end of like from the very first one to all the way to level 16, you're going to see like different variations of the magic being pulled out, which is really cool, but it just takes forever to get to level 16, so it's kind of useless. So this game is what began like the secret wall stuff. Now, if you ran around the village, you would know, like an NPC would kind of tell you what to do. Obviously, knowing what we know, you know, you're going to know all the shortcuts, but they prevent you from knowing anything further because you have to go talk to these NPCs in order to get that stuff to unlock. So you have to like hit certain triggers and stuff like that. See, the problem with gaining MP2 is that you have to sit there in the battle for a long time, and you'll have to like basically outlast the enemies in order for all that to happen. So this one's a very obscure one, but pretty much come down here. A lot of people look at this map and be like, a lot of playthroughs die here because you just have no idea what you're doing. So, oops. Yeah, don't go here. Sometimes I forget which way these games let you go. And sometimes it's just random. It'll just happen. So you see like I got a 66 boost. Like, yeah, just they constantly use magic if you wish. Sometimes it just happens, sometimes it doesn't. Just kind of skirt the edges here. Fire is looking really nice. Go down to the pub. Watch out for all these guys. So he was blocking the invisible wall so we could come down here and talk to this guy. As you can see, 3 out of 11, but we can't go anywhere else, so it must be something different, right? There's a whole bunch of cornball-y dialogue in this game. Let me say that in this Final Fantasy game, there is a theme where people die and they play like the exciting I won triumphant music. It is just such bad timing. Like, it's one of the things I hate the most about this game. I'm like, dude, really? You just watched your homie die and you're just like, fuck it. Oh, it kills me, man. Every time it kills me. And we can legitimately fight these guys and be able to take them on, but obviously that's because with the boost help, we're already at like level 3, level 4-ish weapons. So yeah. Essentially you want your rank to meet their their rank so you can have an easier time with the battles. Pop out. Okay. And pretty much this is what I'm going to be doing. Whenever I get in situations like this, Maria is obviously going to defend. And then with the other two, we're just going to kind of spam cast until we feel good about ourselves. So we're going to wrap the video soon. I'm going to put on no encounters so we can just get down to the town and start from there. But essentially, when it does come down to these grinding moments, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to do it off the camera, because obviously this is fucking boring to watch, right? Because we're just going to sit here and do the same thing over and over again until I just want to leave it and level up my MP. So anytime it comes to an MP upgrade, this is exactly what I'm going to be doing. I will show, once we get the way to get rid of our MP quicker, so we can power level that. Obviously, I will show the steps and, you know, explain what to do from there. But actually doing it all the way to 999, I will not show that part, because that is going to take forever. And it's going to be this process over and over and over. So I'll give one more. And I really don't know how much you need to drain in order to get this going. But those two's cure should be good. Everybody attack. There we go. Okay. Cure's looking mighty powerful. Back on, just didn't want to run into battles while we're trying to do stuff. Walk right by the damn man. $3,600 gil is insane. So obviously you're going to give the ring to the brother, Gordon, which is him. Go into the, or no, you're going to give the ring to Hilda, and then that's when your storyline's going to advance and continue from there. Rebel base is in here. I don't know if you want to show this him or not. Oh, there we go. Alrighty. Well, that'll do for part one. Not really the most fantastic Final Fantasy game by far. We are going to be trudging through it though, and we're just going to get from point A to point B. Obviously, I'll do what I can to mitigate the viewer experience from having to suffer through this one. It's definitely not the most fun of the entire thing, so we got a little bit of an uphill to climb here. But the game does get better, you know, around the midpoint. It's just the way that the leveling system is, and you know, the characters are probably the weaker points of the game, and that's what makes this game so unbeloved, you know. But it'll be alright. We'll get through it, It's really not that bad of a game. It's just it had its moments. So they tried something different. It didn't really work out because they never did it again. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.